obscur dans les ronds, tu le trouveras sans aide. Clair obscur, trouble de rature, courbera et fait. Clair obscur dans les ronds, tu le trouveras sans aide.
Is music good now? Hold it on, put the mic up more, so mic's still up. Okay. See? Mic better. Hello everyone. So welcome to the stream. Hopefully could go down low. I'm not very good at the sound thing. Music off is better. Okay, so we do not have music for today. I'll do a test stream at some point where we can figure out the whole music situation. Right, so mic is still too low. Let's try that. Hopefully that should be okay. I've upped it about a third, so that might be too loud, but if it's too loud, maybe turn the volume softer. Hopefully we should be good. More louder. Okay. Let's do that. Right. Okay, I'm fully up, and I've added a filter to make it go even louder. I need to get a mic, guys. I need to get a mic. So hopefully we should be good. I think I've spent the last 5 minutes. No, louder. Okay, wait. Let me change that. An idiot. Paying this weekend, kid. I need to. I'll be down in Cape Town, so I should be able to. Right. Too loud now? Oh, that's very loud. I think I've just broken everybody's ears. Maybe like that, but too loud. Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to talk very quietly with this new updated settings, but yeah, it goes about to, okay, we're good to go on sound. Thank you guys for being my troubleshooters for today. Definitely need to get a mic, and I'll be down in Cape Town, so that I can probably buy one, because my town is tiny and we in fact do not have mics here, at least not for purchase. So, the mission for today is going to be firstly refining what's already there. So, for example, now this is something that I'm probably going to fix, that's not going to be fixed on a live stream. But technically my archways are upside down. I don't know what I was thinking when I did them initially, but yeah, they're technically upside down, so we'll deal with that at some point. And then the next thing is, I don't like that the pillars are making like a little step over here, so I'm going to scale the top hexagon pentagon thing that I can't recall the name of at least not in English. So I'm going to scale that up so it matches with the pillars, and I want to start implementing these little thingamajigs. Regarding how smoothly that's going to go, well, time will tell. So, getting right into things. Oh, quick disclaimer, this concept is not mine. I did not make it. I did not model it. I found it on Pinterest. I do not know who created it. Otherwise, I would credit them. But yeah, I'm going to be using it for inspiration. I'm not going to make a one-to-one copy of this in any case. It's more just an idea we're going off of. Right, so for those that haven't been at my previous streams, it's kind of where we're at right now. The aim of the game and why I'm doing it in Houdini is, you'll notice we've got 3 lanterns. I'd like to create one, and then hopefully if I create the one, I can edit that one to create the others without too much of a problem and without too much effort. So we'll see if that works out, but that's the thing with Houdini, you test it and see if it works. If it doesn't work, you have to fix it, which is half the fun. Right, so first order of business is going to be to adjust the top, roof, and the, let's say, the base as well. Right, so over here we've got the node network. I'm going to adjust my light because I'm shining directly on my screen. Now I'm in darkness, but we'll see what I can do about that. Probably better that way. Right, so I've had illusions of grandeur that I'm going to organize this network for the stream. I have not. So we're going to have to figure this one out, but that's fine. Right, so I believe we've got our base over here. And right now it's set to be, the top is set to be identical to this cylinder over here, and the bottom is set to be 0.15 bigger. Right, so in theory, if I go and look what is the end result here, I need the, what would you say that is? Or what would I say that is? That's probably about, it's definitely less than half. Let's start with an equal number, just to see what we get. We can always adjust. Oh, that did nothing. That's absolutely brilliant. That is absolutely brilliant. So let me see what's going on here. Okay, so that's the height. So we're not looking for the height. Right, found the problem. I did not multiply. You need to multiply. Right, so that is too much. So I'd say, let's try 5. No, 0.5. That's perfect. Now, the only downside to this is if I adjust the pillars and make the pillars bigger or smaller, it'll no longer line up. But I'm going to have to decide whether that is a problem, because some roofs, I know it's a lantern, but let's say in some cases the pillar and the roof, for the sake of the argument, won't quite line up. As long as the roof is as big as the pillars, we're fine. So what we could do, we could potentially add a separate control for that. Maybe. Let's just fix it for now. Let's just fix it for now. We can worry about the details later. Right. So that looks better. The next thing is this lantern doesn't have what do you call it? Glass or anything. So I actually do not want the center of this lantern. So what I can probably do, we just see if I'm using that anywhere. Am I? I am, for copy to points. But I'm not using it anywhere else. So in theory, I can remove it there. And we've got something that actually looks more like a lantern rather than, well, something that's not a lantern. As you guys could tell, my brain is not functioning today, so if I'm talking complete nonsense, bear with me. Right, so first thing's been fixed. We've got that. That's looking somewhat functional. I'm still not a fan of the archways being upside down, because it would just look better the other way around. Are we going to fix it though? Brain is definitely not braining today, guys. Bear with me. Right, so you guys are about to experience utter chaos. For those of you that haven't watched my previous streams, you'll now see what actually goes on to behind the scenes to get where we are now. Because I'm going to flip the archways to actually face the correct direction, which is going to be interesting and utter chaos, as I mentioned. But right, let's see what we've got. So the first archway is a line. Don't have to change anything there. It's resampled. We've got a curve. Right, and this is where our first problem might be. You know what I could do? What I could do. I don't know how to explain it. I mean, it's the end of the year, guys. I don't think anyone's brain is braining right now. Right, so let me just see what we've got here. So we want this flipped 180 degrees. But the problem is I need this to stay in the same place. This is the first time Houdini on the channel. I've seen only ZBrush here. I've done 2 Houdini streams before, but they've been very sporadic due to the fact that I've got a lot of Wi-Fi problems. So these days I'm testing my Wi-Fi before I stream because otherwise it just does not work. But I believe the previous Houdini sessions are up on YouTube. So we've got the Firestorm Studio YouTube channel, so it'll be over there. We've probably got the names somewhere that way. There's, I don't know if there's links. There's probably not links, but at least you can see the name. That's always a good start. Right, so it's called ZBrush is wonderful. ZBrush is wonderful. It's just not procedural enough for me. I do like dynamics. So you have really influenced me there, Heather. Right, so thinking. What do I want? I don't know what I want. Let me just view the full thing so I can think. Right, so I technically want these to flip 180 degrees, but, and I'll demonstrate it, it's not as simple as rotating at 180 degrees, because if I rotate it 180, is this the right way there? I don't know if this is the right way. No, yeah, that's a 180. It's technically facing the right direction, but if we go here and view it, you'll see it moved. The pivot is not in the middle. Now, in Maya, it's very simple. You just say center pivot. I believe there might be a way to do that in Houdini. Wait, let me undo that. There should be a way. So let us see. I don't want that to be at the origin. Let's do that and then move 180. We might have just gotten it. The only problem is I don't think this is going to allow me to scale at any point, but let's just see if it works for now. Right, so that works. It does work. But. Okay, firstly we do need another pillar in the center here. I'm pretty sure if I scale this up, do I have a controller for scaling the archway up though? I don't think so. I don't think I've got one for that. Let's see. So I've got something for the rooftop, got something for the roof height, I've got something for the pedestal height. Now the downside of this is the roof does not scale accordingly. which is very annoying. I need to fix that at some point. Width is working to the point. Why is my pillars going bonkers if I scale to the side? That is weird. Right, we're going to see why that is. Let's fix one thing at a time. As I mentioned, we're going to be fixing stuff today. The first was pretty simple, which was flipping the archway. I struggled with this 2 weeks ago. I could not figure it out. It turns out it was very simple. It's one of those situations where if you're staring at the screen too long or staring at a problem too long, you forget how to do things. Right, so. We've got that working, but we've got the pillar problem. So let's take a look at what's going on. The pillars, and here's where organization comes in. If I had fancy labels everywhere, I would have known exactly where my pillars are. I in fact did not do it. So okay, so that, let's start with some of your organization actually. That is going to be, what do you call this? This would be the rooftop. So that'll be a rooftop. And then this is what? Flower. Is this actually the rooftop? It is. Brilliant. I think you want more sub-networks. It's easier. Yes, but I like being able to see everything. I like being able to see everything. But I should start implementing that. I think it's in part because it's not the way I was taught to do it initially. But I was taught to have all the nodes all together because it's one object, technically. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's the right way to do it. For organization, it's not the prettiest to have all these networks. So I need to condense it down at some point. Let's see. So that is the archway. I still have not found my pillars, by the way. So that will also be part of them. So let's create a box for those. That is a good suggestion, though. That is a good suggestion. Where am I? Arches. I cannot think. So arches, and then that would be what? I think. No. What is this? Spark, sweep, blast, dissolve. Oh, that's a profile. That's a profile, so that's also part of that. Right. Then we've got our pillars. Alright, so that's copy to point. That won't be where the problem is. Transform is only scale. So why is it breaking? Which points am I copying to? This one, and it's found the problem. Found the problem. I believe our group is determined by a bounding box, and the bounding box is set to adjust according to height instead of width. Brilliant. Apparently I was not thinking at all when I created this. So let me go down. We're going to take a look at the controller. We want width. We do not want height. Right, so that's going to be, I'm just going to break connection for now. Delete channels. And then take that back to 1. I know I probably don't have to do that, but my brain just works that way. Right, paste relative reference and paste relative reference, and we're going to multiply that by, let's say number 4. Actually, I say that's an insane number, it's not that extreme. So times that by 4. Now, in theory, if I go down and we see what we've got here, it's not disappearing anymore, which is brilliant. Right, what I don't like, and this is my own fault, just the way I've set things up. Eventually my my archways no longer touch the sides or anything, which is not quite ideal. What I could do is I could combine the two instead of placing a pillar in the center. I could in theory, but I don't know if I want to do that. Right, focus. So we're going to do what next? Maybe these little things. So that's going to be similar to the one up top. So let me quickly see which one that is. Don't template it. View it. Right, it is that one. So I'm going to duplicate that one. Now, how I'm going to copy the points to the points of the pillar is a different matter entirely. But we're going to work with it. Right, so I'm probably going to change the shape. Another thing I want to do is I want to add this shape controller for this piece over here and the rooftop to the main controller, let's say. Right. So that's going to be in the attribute fob. Hi, how are you? You'll notice I don't try to pronounce names because I'm terrible at pronouncing names. But I do see you guys. And welcome. How are you? So let me see. I'm probably going to simplify the shape. Ideally, I would actually want to cut this part out and then just have that. So let me see what I can do. Maybe do something like that, maybe. It reminds me of one of those Russian dolls that there's ones that go kind of that's stuck inside of each other. I don't know why, but made me think of that. Right, so got that. Now I need to figure out how to get it to the top of the pillars. I'd say the easiest time to place it would be actually before the pillar gets placed rather than after. So I'm quickly going to see what the controls on this. So that's just scale. That's just scale, literally just scale. And then that is controlled by height, so that's just centering it. I thought I could cheat and make that my way of placing, but probably not. Let's see. Let me think. Let me think. What is this transform doing? It's probably if I'm... No, it's not placing it. Right, so that's the control for adjusting the height on the thing. So for now, I'm going to... No, I don't want that center to up there. Maybe. Do I want this? We're going to break it. If it breaks everything, then we'll deal with it. So that's going to be 1. No, that's going to be 0. And that's going to be 1. Right. That seems like it did a whole lot of nothing, but anyway. Right, so we've got that. And then I technically want to copy it to the pillar, so that's going to be at that point. I broke something. I definitely broke something. Right, I was selecting the wrong thing. I think. What did I break? So that works. Let's template that. That works. Right, I probably deleted the channels on the boxes transform rather than the ones on the little piece on top. So, be that as it may, I do want this smaller. Because it's obviously too big for that pillar. And technically, I don't want it to copy to the pillar's top. I want it to copy to those corners. So, technically, I could repurpose the points that I was using. Right. Okay. So I've got points that I've grouped that I'm using to copy the pillars to these corners. So in theory, I could use the same points, so the same group, for copying the little ornamental pieces. So that's going to be a copy to points. Today is very much let's figure this out rather than me actually demoing stuff properly, but we're going to work with it. Right, so we need those, and then I believe that's pillar placement, and I believe that's the top. Nope, that's the bottom ones. So we technically want the top. So what if I move that to be determined by the height? So let's see. Right, so that's going to be a control down at the bottom here, and that's going to be the height. This might not work, but maybe Houdini has magic today and it actually decides it works. Actually, Houdini is always magic, but yeah. Okay, brilliant. Houdini was in fact magic. We've got our top thingamajig selected, so that's going to be ornament placement. I want the thingamajig there. Right, so let's grab that, and that's going to go all the way down. Geometry to copy, those are the points to copy to. And then group. Have the correct node selected. That's step 1. So it's not a source group, it's target points. Brilliant, we've got that. I want to combine these up so we can kind of see what's going on. Right, that's giant. And not only is it giant, but it's technically copying. Well, it's copying to the right points, but it's not taking into account the height of the, what do you call it? Pedestal? Roof pedestal thing? Right, so let's see if we can maybe, now this is probably a long shot. No, that's definitely not going to work. That's not going to work. Ideally, I would want to copy this into that and then magically be alright, but it's in fact not. But I wonder if we do that times 2.5. No, that's a cheat, and it's not a very good one. I think. But if it works, I'm not going to complain too much. So let's see. Oh, no. Did I copy the right one? I copied the wrong one. That's why it's not working. I copied the roof height, not the pedestal height, because technically I broke my own brain, so technically this part is the roof and that's just a pedestal thing. But in my brain it just flipped it. Houdini looks like you have to study mathematics or something. A little bit, but it does most of the math for you. You just, well, it depends what you're doing, but in most cases you just use some multiplication and division and stuff like that. So it's not too bad, but it does take some adapting to. So that's going to be, what do you call it? Delete channels. Going to zero that back out, and then I'm going to paste relative references, and like magic, it should work. In theory. No, not that one. Pixel. Brilliant. Right, now that's obviously way too big. So the next thing we're going to do is, actually we're going to add a controller for that, because why not? I probably need to start categorizing these, but I have not done it yet. It's not necessary, fortunately. Once you get the hang of it, it's not that overwhelming. Of course, still hard, but not that much scary, at least. Very true. Though I will say, the minute I think I'm getting the hang of it, I realize I know nothing at all. So, um, I wouldn't say, well, actually, I would say Houdini has a steep learning curve, but it's so with learning. It's fun. It's really, really fun. And sometimes it can do stuff that other software just can't do or can't do as well. So it does have its uses. I will say I mainly use Apprentice. I don't pay for the full software because I don't usually use it to render. You can get away with a lot with Apprentice. The only downside I've found, or at least significant downside, is you can't render in anything above 7 something. There's a 740 pixels, I believe. Maybe somewhere around there. Maybe it's 1K, can't remember, but there's quite a huge restriction on resolution in terms of rendering. Right, let me think. That's going to be ornament 1280 by 720 pixels. Exactly that one. I haven't rendered in here in a while. I actually did pay for this full software at some point, but last year, but it very recently expired. And as much as I love Houdini, I don't use it that often, which is one of the reasons for these streams. It gives me an excuse to play Houdini. So make of that what you will. But paid but cheaper than indie, that doesn't have those limitations. What's the qualifications for that though? I probably do not qualify. I don't know if streaming counts as educational. I could maybe sell it as that. But yeah, right, let me think. What did I want to do? Size. I'm going to copy that and I'm going to put that into scale. And do I want this to be uniform? Technically I have to be a student. Right. I'm not a student. Heather, can I be your student? Maybe I could get a student license that way. 1 minute ad. I did not know we have 1 minute ads. Apparently we do. Right, so as you'll notice, my ornaments disappeared the second I did the scaling for the controller, but that's just because this is set to 0, so we've now got a uniform scale. So, right, but I do not know. If I want those there. Because, right, so this is copying to technically this point. Not really that point. Oh, wait, I'm explaining very, very badly here. It's technically the template that, no, that's not going to help. Right. It's technically copying to the where the glass would be on a lantern. Now this lantern does not in fact have glass, but that's technically what it's copying to. Now the downside to that is, what is the downside to that? The downside to that is this is obviously smaller than our roof. So I'm not quite sure I want the little pieces to be over there. I might want them more this way. But maybe I can make it look less no, not that one. Less unusual by making the width of their roof bigger. Possibly. Let's start with actually changing the shape of this. So, in fact, before I do that, let's get a control for that as well. So that's going to be that one, float, and that's going to be, what do you call that? Ornament profile? Profile, possibly, that one. Wait, I've got a message. I'm back. You don't have to be a student for educational license, actually. You just have to subscribe or buy course, tutorial, workshop, whatever, from one of the official working partner schools. That with, like, Houdini School or Double Jump or something, and you are eligible for Edu license. That is absolutely brilliant. And probably cheaper than paying for the full subscription. I'll look into that. Thank you. So that's good. I'm stupid. It's not a. It's in fact not a float. It is a ramp parameter. The ramp is a float, but it's not a float. No, explaining that badly. It is a float, but it's not like a decimal type of float. It's a ramp float. Self-explanatory. Let's go with that. So that's going to be ornament profile. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. And then we're going to copy that. Seems like today is going to be very much an organizational stream. Unnecessary, I would say evil, but it's probably not evil. It's necessary. Let's leave it at that. Now I don't want that to be a color there. Now wait, let's see what it does. Okay, that should actually be fine. That should actually be fine. Right, so I'm going to copy parameter. And now it's going to break everything. But bear with me. So that's going to be that one, and that's going to be page relative reference. Brilliant. We've got an upside down ornament. Right, so control. Let's get a new shape here. I'm going to invert that, and then we're going to start messing with this. So that's going to be. What are we going to use? Let's start with Bezier and see what we get. I never know how to pronounce that, by the way, so if I pronounced it incorrectly, pay with me. Right, so let's see what we've got. Now, I don't quite want the exact shape, but I do like the kind of inwards shape at the bottom. So let's start there, and then I'm going to make like a sharp corner at the bottom there. And I want it to go outwards again. Right, now this is very, I don't like the proportions of this. So, maybe more like that. I'm also looking for a way to select every second row of faces here. I've not been able to find one. I can find one that looks like that one, and that one, and that one, but that doesn't help me. I need it to, well, no, sorry, I explained that poorly. It in fact selects that one, and then that one, and then this one, that one, and so on. It doesn't select rows that go this way. There is a way to do it. I know there is because it's Houdini and there's always a way to do something in Houdini. But I need to study up on that more because, well, all right, so this looks bad. I do not like that. So that means we're going to have to either make our roof bigger. As you guys can tell, I can't fix it all. So we're going to work with it. Yeah, that's not ideal at all. I wonder if we do similar to what they did and just kind of plop a thing on top of extrude or on bottom, because I'm going to have to do it for the bottom as well because it's doing the same thing. Right, let me think. What do I want to do? It's probably going to mess with my placement though. Do I want to go through this? The other option is I find the center of the pillar and I place it on the top of the bottom before I copy to point. Let's try it. Let's try it. It's probably gonna break because I'm making a pretty drastic change. But let's see what it does. Right, so box. And that's going to be a water poly extrude. Poly extrude. And then what am I going to use to determine? Normal. We're going to use normal. So firstly we need a group. Group. And we're going to select faces determined by normals. The direction is going to be up and down, so it's technically this one. And what am I doing? What am I doing? Right. So that's not selecting the right ones. Opposite direction as well, because I do want the bottom. Oh, there's a 1 in this one. Need a 0. Brilliant. Okay, we've got top and bottom. So that's going to be what? Pillar, top and bottom, why not? My naming is very descriptive, as you guys can notice. Quite the opposite. Very basic. Let's keep it at that. So that's going to be a poly extrude, and I want this to be determined by the group. And the distance is going to be determined by, let me think, pillar height. Actually, what I can do is I can implement this after the copy to points, and maybe. No, I'm in the wrong place. That'll avoid the problem. Now, I have not explained what the problem is, so let me start over. My main concern right now is if I extrude up, I'll destroy where my pillar is going. So let me actually leave it as is and actually demo that, because I'm kind of talking into the air here. Right, so let's say I extrude by, am I in the right place? I'm not in the right place. What am I doing? So that goes over there. Brilliant. Now we've actually got an extrude. So that's going to be, let's say we do that and we do whatever. If this thing copies to points, come on, is it actually fine? And here I thought I was going to demo this, it wasn't going to work. Actually it works fine. So forget what I said. Let's see. That was actually very much simpler than I thought it would be, which is a good thing. I'm going to have the height of the extrude be determined by the pedestal height. So copy that parameter, and hopefully it'll be magic and actually work. If not, the insert distance. Patch relative reference. Brilliant! It actually works. Now we're going to ignore the fact that the geo is completely horrible in this. Obviously you'd want to fix that at some point, which I'm not going to do right now. Right, so that's one thing sorted. Next thing is kind of that thing there. So, how am I going to fix that? So I either need to, at some point during this exact stream, I adjust things so that the pillar is on the inside of that thing, and I think that's what that thing, the corner, so that it is inside the corner, and I think that was a mistake. So I'm going to have to, remember where I did that. It's not over here. Wouldn't be on the control. Might be on the pillars transform. It is not. Where did I change this? Where did I change it? If I think I changed it here on the original. Yeah. Let's just take that back to the default and see what it does. Right, now if I increase the, because that was the reason I changed it, right? I didn't like that this corner was poking out on the, no, I'm again displaying this very badly. Let me just remove the extrude for a second and look at it. I did not like that there was a gap here. Now, if I'd actually thought ahead, I would have known that if I added this top piece over here, all would be well and we'd be good to go, but I in fact did not think of that. So, be that as it may, now, let's change the insert to be a little bit more. I actually don't like that amount. I don't want to make it that big. Right, so in theory, I could also do what? I can change so it doesn't scale equally. There is a way to do that. Do I want to do it though? What I can do, actually, now that I think about it, I think most people would probably prefer to model it separately and then scatter on the end starts of the better. Starts of the poles. Probably. I did think about that. But there's a way of like selecting the center point of 4 points. And my mentor did it with code and I can't remember the code. There is an easier way of doing it, I'm sure of it. I've not looked up the easier way of doing things. No, we don't want to twist. Let's add divisions maybe. Why does it not want to curve? No, we're not going to curve it. Let's leave it at that. Let's just leave it. I've got these two big things. Radian frame, uniform, division spacing, thickness. I wonder what this does. I've in fact found the thing I wanted. I've found the thing I wanted. Absolutely brilliant. Right, so that is what I wanted to do. This we don't like easy ways. Yes, easy ways are boring. No, they're not boring. They're effective. But I tend to overcomplicate Houdini. I tend to do it the hardest way possible for no particular reason. But that's just one of those things. I don't recommend it. But yeah. Right. That is slowly starting to actually look like a lantern. The next thing I want to do is get those pillars in the center. Well, the center, let me actually explain what the center is. So that would be this area here. So that's probably, oh, sorry if you guys hear background noise. My dog he wants food. He wants food. There's no other way to put it. So, how am I going to approach this? How am I going to approach this? Let me see what the curve is actually doing. We can go from there. Because I could, in theory, just extend the curve, make everything taller, and then have it connect in the center, which is probably the easiest. Because I can even add, like, adjust the ramp to get size variation, the pillar, and all that fun stuff. Do I want to do that there? Do I? Yeah, let's do it. Why not? Let's see the utter chaos that this stage up. So, now this is going to be difficult to navigate because I built it one way and I flipped it another way. For example, let me just actually show that. So I built it this way, but if you actually look at the end result, this bottom one is flipped upside down, which is very inconvenient. Build your model or your pieces of your model in the direction you want them to face at the end. That way you don't have to mess with it too much. Right, so I technically want to adjust the height, but I want to... However, that's going to break everything. It's going to break absolutely everything. But it's fine. It's fine. We'll work with it. Right, so that's going to be... Let me see. That's going to be probably at the transform. What happens? So that's the width. The height is currently 0.4 of the total height. Let's make it 1. Oh well, no, it can't be 1. Can't be 1. We just merge it so we can see what's going on here. Right. And that's not fixing anything because I need the bottom to be right. If I ever would learn Houdini, it would probably be at Rebel Way. Yes. I've got a tutorial for Houdini somewhere that specifically to make a procedural environment, Star Wars themed environment, and I've not had a chance to watch it or do it. I'm very sad about it. One day I'll have time, and when I have that time, I don't know how we'll get the time, but if I have the time, I'll explore. Right, so I've got this thing that flips it, I think. No, I don't want the template. Right, I do have that thing that flips it. So let's leave that at what? Transform is currently at point. No, it was not this one. Or which one was it? Organize your nodes, guys. Organize your nodes. Oh, it is this one. It is this one. So let's start with doing that at 0.4. Oh, this is wrong, but let's leave it at that for now. Right, so we've got it flipping at the bottom down here. That's currently fully on the bottom. So, because I want this, don't do that, not off graphic perspective. How do I turn that off? Perspective, that one, fun. Okay, so they really like Star Wars stuff in their courses. Yes, Star Wars is brilliant. Need I say more? I know Heather wasn't a fan of it, but I am. Right, so I want these touching. So let me just see what it's doing here. So that's still fine. Let me think. Right, so the translation is determined by the height, and that's scaling that up accordingly. But what if I move it to the center? Will that make a difference? Let's see. So that moves it further apart, which is actually not ideal at all. Right. What are we going to do about it? The alternative is, instead of having, is this the one that determines the height? But then it's not going to scale equally, is it? Translation is determined by the width, that's fine. However, translation is fine. Is it though? So let's zero this. It goes further apart again. I really don't know what I want to do. I do not know what I'm hurting tonight, I saw. Maybe a little bit. Maybe just a tiny bit. Right, so. Right. What is the plan? So that's fine. Where is the... Some of us are Potterheads, some of us are Lord of the Rings, you know. I am a Potterhead, do not like Lord of the Rings. I do not like Lord of the Rings at all, which is very, very controversial, I know. Because I love fantasy movies, but I just could not get into the Lord of the Rings. In fact, when I was growing up, my mom read us the books for The Hobbit. I would sneak away. It was kind of part of our school. I was homeschooled, so it was part of our school curriculum was reading Hobbit, Lord of the Rings, all of that, Harry Potter, and she read The Hobbit to us, and I would sneak away and read my own books. Technically, we were in school, but I snuck away to read my own books. Always. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. I've never read any books though. I highly recommend reading the books. The books, I'm biased. The books are always better. The movies never do them justice. I'm very sad when I watch. Okay, there's a key to this. If I watch the movies first, it's fine if they don't match the books. But if I watch them, if I read the books first and the movies don't match, I'm not happy. I'm not happy at all. I read The Wheel of Time, all of The Wheel of Time, and I did not get through the first episode of the series. I was very sad. I was very, very sad when I saw it. Um, yeah, I was unhappy. Let's leave it at that. Right, so I still don't know what I want to do. I still do not know what I want to do. So that's fine. Honestly, I could not even tell it's a different writer. Granted, I was like 13 when I wrote it. So I was still quite young, so maybe that's why. Um, but yeah, I could not really tell the difference. They were all good. Um, the ending was not what I expected. But maybe that was my illusions of grandeur as a kid. Um, I didn't and don't mean the ending was bad. It just wasn't the ending I would have liked it to have. It was a fitting end, it was just not the one I would have liked. As those things go. Um, the Wheel of Time episode's really not that great. Yeah. I think they lost a lot of the depth that comes with the magic side of things. Um, and the magic is the star of the show, quite frankly. The star of the show, as in the star of the book, there's so much detail that goes into the magic side of things. I still have not decided what I want to do here at all. I'm not very good at talking and figuring stuff out at the same time. Right, so technically we need more height. So to get more height, we need to adjust something somewhere. Very, very specific, something somewhere. So it's not length. It is the transform, but the problem is if I scale this up, that scales up, not the... But maybe we can do that. But the problem is if I then adjust that, that's not going to adjust accordingly, is it? It's not going to adjust accordingly. Let's see if it does. See, that's the problem. But I'm stupid. I'm stupid. I'm stupid. I'm stupid. Not stupid, actually, but... Okay, so there is a way around that. So I'm going to copy the height, and that's going to be multiplied by X amount, right? Where were we? We were at the transform. So that's going to be copy the height. I'm quickly going to undo things because I don't. Right. So I'm going to copy the height, and then the transform is going to be that, and that's going to be times something. It's very specific, but let's just see what it does first. Right, but that's not what I want either. That is not what I want either. Times 0.5. Let's see. I'm a bit too stupid for Houdini. No. No one is. It is possible to learn, it just takes time. Though I will admit Houdini has a way of making you feel stupid. Uh, Unfortunately. Okay, but that's not great either. Why is it jumping? Specifically, I don't want the bottom to jump. So one of these transforms are messing me up. That's the problem of transforms. Transforms are not your friend. It's probably this one. Let's zero that for a second. And just see if the height is working. No, it's coming from somewhere else. So it's not that transform. It's definitely not the width. So this is all fine. Oh, that's horrible. No, let's undo that. This transform affecting width and height. You and I, for making a drill, you would use Houdini to make a factory of drill. It's more complicated and harder, but more rewarding on the bigger scale. Exactly. Exactly. Could not have said it better. Right, let's try something else. What if I copy it here? This is probably not even worth trying again. Or trying it this way around. But I am going to try it this way around, and I'm going to tell myself it's going to work. Times, what is it? How far is this from the flat? So that's going to be times 0.5. No, in fact, it is not. 1.5? No, 1.25. Brilliant. Right, let's see. Let us see. Please work. It does not work. This channel has ads every 30 minutes, I think. Probably monetization has to happen in some way, shape, or form. Right, so that does not work. Brilliant. Seems like I'm going to spend all day on this one. But I don't understand why this did not work. It's not 1.5 times 2. Why are you acting weird? Because it was just, I just did this and it acted differently. So why is it doing this now? Let's just quickly delete channels there, zero that out, and then we're gonna copy this parameter and paste relative references. And now it's doing similar to what it did. But before 0.5 worked, and this time it doesn't. Granted, I am in, what do you call it? Perspective view. Twitch is really bad for ads. Probably yes. I can't even argue. Ads are a thing. Right, so why does it stay constant though? And I'm not talking about the other ones that are going bonkers. Let me just disconnect the others. Oh, don't die on me. I just got a major error. Right, I've got one of those floaty thingies. Okay, it's fine. Delete that. It has officially died. Why? Come on. Why can't I get rid of you? That's very annoying. Well, new merge it is. Oh wow, nothing works. Right, I'm gonna have to quickly restart Houdini. So let's save that. Well, you can set ads every 2 hours, but some people set them every 30 minutes, apparently. I'm not in charge of that side of things, guys. Not up to me. But yes, though I will say streaming is not very lucrative at all. So I guess you take what you can get, right? Right, so I've saved this, and I'm quickly gonna resave it again, just in case I didn't actually save it. And I'm gonna reopen Houdini because it officially crashed on me. Well, it did not crash, but I've got major errors and it's just not cooperating. Unfortunately, Houdini takes forever and a day to open, but we're gonna work with it. I know when I first started using Houdini, I had a different version, and that version opened quickly. But the version I have now opens slow. You would need to have at least 200 users to make some money. Very true. Very true. We'll get there, guys. This streams haven't been going that long. And there's lots of cool streamers coming on board as well. Some of them you guys have probably met, some of them possibly not. Some are starting in the new year. I won't be naming names. I do not have the authority to name names. But yeah, cool people are coming on board. Right, so what did I want to do? I want to file. I'll bring the screen back in a second because I'm going to go into my recents and NDAs and stuff. Right, so that's going to be that one and then that one. And then we are sorted. Brilliant. I mean, 48 views is pretty decent for now. Yes, it is. It's also quite daunting having 48 people watch you mess up in Houdini, but yes. Twitch pays almost nothing for ads. It's better to set ads the least you can so you don't irritate everyone that much. I'll give Heather a heads up for that one. I don't know. I don't typically watch streams long enough to have too many ads. I typically watch maximum an hour, so if I get your ads in that time, I'm not too bothered. Not really. I'm working on the side, so I must listen. I try to do the same, but I get so distracted that I end up not working. Right. Now, what did I want to do? I wanted to get rid of that, and I wanted to get rid of that. So we can just watch the arches for now, and I'm going to avoid that one. No, not that one. I'm going to avoid. Let's just keep it basic for now. Why is there 2 archways here? Is this the inner archway? I took out the wrong one. It needs to be that one. Let's get rid of that. Let's leave it at that. I do want the transform though. Right, let's see. If anything else could possibly be interfering. Definitely something interfering. Let's avoid that as well. It's almost as if the two is working against each other, which is quite possible. But why is it working against each other? That is the question. Right. Let's delete channels for now and do that at 1. I want to see. Let's copy that parameter, paste that into that. And that also not working. Right. Delete channels. There's a way of doing this though. I've done it plenty of times with the circle. Because with a circle, you can actually see it over here. Where is it though? It's for the flower. I know, but I made it a flower with lines. Alright, but let me actually demo that. So that's going to be a circle. Doesn't really matter whether it's polygons or not. But if you take the uniform scale and you paste that into the center, you scale this up, it stays in the bottom. So that's technically what I want to do, except I want it to be like that. So, no, I don't want it to be like that. I want it to be like a demo. Basically, I want it to be like this. When I scale, when I scale this, it needs to go flat. But it's not doing that. And I don't know why. So that was taking the uniform scale. Does that have influence? I do not know. What if, right, where did I rotate this? Because technically this should scale up, not down. Why is it scaling up? Why? I think I found it. I think it was the pivot translation, possibly. No, because I copied the parameters there. It's not that. I don't know why. Right, so let me just see where we are right now. Because that's that. But it, no. Could it be? What do I have? Let's just see what we have for now, and then I'll deal with the rest. Right. So that's currently too high, and that's probably why the pivot set to 1. That is probably why the pivot set 1. Let's see. So let's copy that parameter, paste relative reference, and just see what that's doing. But that's moving. I really don't know what I want to be doing. Right. Let's see. Let's isolate that again. Copy that parameter, paste. That's not technically what I want to do. I'm going in circles here. Let's zero that and grab our control. And this was determined by height, so let's just grab that and just fix things again so it is like it was. We're going to press relative reference, and that's going to be times 0.5. I think. Times. No, it was 0.4. It was 0.4, but let's work with that for now. Right, so moving down here, that's fine. Transform. What if we move it at this point instead of the top point? I don't know why I think this is going to work, because it's probably not, but let's copy that parameter and paste it down here. Right. Times 0.5. It actually works. Absolutely brilliant. Fantastic, it's working. Right, so let's hook that one up, that one up. Now these aren't fixed yet. There is a hashtag y minim or something like that, but I don't remember if we're pivot. I do not know. I've not used it, but that's worth looking into. It is worth looking into. But we've left off. We have left off. Right, I don't like that angle quite, but let's see whether the rest of this is working. Fantastic. So what I would probably want to do is straighten these edges a little bit out so it looks more, I don't know, less ugly. Less ugly. And I think I probably want to make the inner archways taller. But if I make them taller, I also have to move my flower thingamajig. Yeah, why not? Let's do 3. Or 4, but that's the same. 4 is too much. Definitely too much. Let's do 3.5, 0.35 actually. And then for the flowers placement, that's a group. Where is it getting placed? Over there, and the translation is times. So technically, that should be fine. In theory. Let's see. Nope, it is in fact not fine at all. Well, let's just see what it's doing now further down. Right, that's horrible. The height isn't wrong, it's just the width that's wrong. So that's going to be not 1. Let's go to perspective because this is looking very weird. Let's try 1.5. Why not? 0.15. And then the height is in fact wrong. So let's do 3. No. 325. I absolutely despise going into these in-between numbers, but we'll work with it. So the width is also probably going to be 2.5. Why? Now at this point, there's nothing attaching it, so we can in theory move it up or just add pieces. We can probably just add pieces later. Right, so we've got pillars in the middle. I'm not sure what the pillars is attached to, but we have pillars. Pillars are fantastic. Right, so that's a start, but I now don't like how this is going. But let's see. Maybe if we adjust the height a little bit, it'll start looking worse. It starts looking worse. Right. Let me think. What are we gonna do? We're gonna adjust the curve. Let's adjust the curve. Why not? Now, again, I would probably want to have a control and my main control for this, but I don't at this stage, so we're going to work with it. So that's going to be attribute Bob, and we're going to adjust it here. Now, here you can see my problem. The reason it's looking so funny, which is not very obvious in this view, let's get to front view, is this is going as a solid curve all the way through. There's no straight edges. So in theory, if I actually add a proper straight edge here, come on. And I don't want that much of a straight edge there. There's a hole. Why is there a hole? Okay. So that is determined by the profile. So that's down in the sweep. Again, you probably want to add controls for all of these. I have, in fact, not done that. So we're going to work with what we have. Is it this one there? This one is for the flowers. So it's not that one. This one's for the inner arches, so that is this one. And you can see the inner arches, that it's narrow at the bottom. We don't want that. Oh, but that's the wrong side. I forgot I made it symmetrical. I want that one. And that one. And then if I move them up, that should be fine. Right, now you'll also notice there's a hole here. And that is because I implemented a little thing which is called the join. And the join is probably ruining my flat edges at the bottom. Oh, it's not. It's a sweep. What is going on with the sweep? Maybe if we adjust. Okay, so that's not going to fix anything. Scaling is not going to fix anything. It's probably normals, but I do have an orient long curve. No. What did that do? Nothing good. What else can we try? What else can we try? Because it's not, if you look at the original curve is flat. But if you start looking at the normals, if we can get those, no, not those. If we get back to perspective. Come on, perspective. Normals. Where is my normals? Right. You'll notice the normals don't go straight down. They don't. They follow the curve. And due to the curve, we've now got a problem at the bottom. So maybe, let's template that. Oh well, not that one. Template that one. And I'm going to turn normals and all that fun stuff off. And I'm going to move to front view so I can see what's up with the normals. Well, not the normals. The bottom, so I can see what is up with the bottom. And then I'm going to change the shape of the curve to hopefully eliminate the problem. So I'm just quickly going to check what impact this has. Oh, this is so finicky. This is terrible. And it's such a slight difference too. I wonder if I can delete that. I want this to be straight. I want this to be straight. Come on. This is terrible. Maybe if we just get it almost straight, I can get, well, the points. Okay, wait, let's just see what that's looking like before I just mess with it more. It's not perfect though. But if it's better, I might be able to live with it. It is better, but it's not good. Alright, so firstly I'm going to eliminate the what do you call it? No end caps. Okay, we don't have end caps in any case, so we're fine on that front. Right, try weld. No, it's not a weld. It's a fuse. Try fuse. Brilliant, 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 brilliant. We are sorted. I should have just used a fuse ages ago. But we've now officially got that working. So let's see what it actually looks like. No, 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 no. I want that selected so it doesn't do weird things. Alright, fantastic. That is working. Now the next thing I want to implement is I want kind of this, maybe that area to be wider. The downside of making it wider is there will be some intersecting. You can decide, you can group these as maybe and then do something like at p dot y equals 0. Very good idea. Very good idea. I should have been watching the chat. Yes, that would have been easier. That would have, in fact, been easier. Right, so we've got that, we've got that. Let's mess a bit with the sweep profile. I'm also going to turn the AC off because it's actually not that cold. Oh, well, sorry, it's cold now. It was not that warm. Right, so let's see, that's the inner curves. So it is the inner ones, and we want to adjust the profile at roughly that point, right? By we, I mean I. Right, so the widest point at this stage is the center, so technically, I wonder if I can make a little step. That did a whole lot of nothing. Right. Just want to find the area that I want to go in for now. So let's do that. No, actually I need 2 points. I wonder if there's a way to mirror this. There probably is. Like, well, that is absolutely terrible. Think what would be easier way to do that? The easier way to do it would be to actually copy a shape on top of this, but I don't know if I want to do that. I do not know if I want to do that. Let's leave it for now. I'll decide what I want to do there at some point. What I could do is could add it in between. I could do more like the concept did and add that in between so that be at the bottom. And it wouldn't be done with a profile adjustment on the sweep. It could be done by a copy to points or something similar. That is another option. But I don't know if I want to do that yet. Right. And the other thing I want to do is I want to add a little bit further detail into the pillar. So let's actually go to the pillar. As you guys can notice, I get sidetracked very quickly. As I encounter problems, I sometimes decide not to work on it. So we're going to work with it. Right, so that is the wrong one. Where is my pillar? I believe it's this one. Possibly. Yes, fantastic. Right, so that's also going to be a group, and it's also going to be done by normals, but it's going to be everything excluding y, so that's going to be 1, and that's going to be 1, and then that's going to be... No. Y aren't you selecting? Let's do side. Oh, that's horrible. Alright, let's start over. Let's see, group. Just get my thoughts in order here. Let's ignore that problem until we can't ignore it anymore. Everyone does that. Yes, 1000% yes. If I can avoid the problem, that's absolutely brilliant and I'm very happy. And sometimes I'll find that if I come back to it at a later time, it doesn't seem like that big of a problem and it's actually easier to solve than I thought. Um, I also find the same applies for even taking a walk or getting up to get a glass of water or anything like that kind of resets your brain and makes it easier to actually solve the problem. Um, Granted, not always, but I like telling myself it helps. Um, right, so group. And then it needs to be primitives. We don't want a base group. We want to keep our normals. Include magic. Now, why are you not selecting anything at all? Why? It's not a point. I don't want edges. I don't want vertices. Do you want primitives? It's going to be something really simple and stupid. Wait. Let's just get a geometry spreadsheet. That is always a good start. Don't crash on me. I must say my computer is not a fan of streaming, recording, and Houdini at the same time, and this is not even a very intense. It's a viewport setting because we've now got everything selected. Definitely a viewport setting. Why is there dots there? Okay, but let's change that to a geometry spreadsheet. And let's try and figure out why it's not showing when I'm selecting stuff. Visibility. There is a place to turn this on and off. Select fully contained. That's all selecting stuff. What am I missing? It's points. That doesn't hold out with nothing. Right, let's go to what view is scene view. And let's actually turn that off. And see if we actually reopen a scene with there. That's going to be okay, brilliant. Get a new just get a new viewport. It's fine. But it is useful having a geometry spreadsheet in any case, so let's do that. Right, now I want not 180. Probably, yeah, that's about right. And then 1. Right, fantastic. I've got everything selected that I want selected. We're now going to use a poly extrude. Actually, we're going to name this group first. That's going to be, what are we going to name it? Pillar detail. Why not? Pillar detail. Why is caps lock on? Pillar detail. Fantastic. I actually want thingamajig there. Underscore. Is that what it's called? Underscore? I think it's underscore. Right, so fantastic. We've got that, and then we want to extrude. Actually, not going to copy that one because I don't want to mess with it. Right, now, something to note about me is I type exactly what I'm thinking, but the image in my head is different. So, for example, I'm imagining extrude, but I'm thinking about the fact that I'm working on a pillar. So what am I typing? I'm typing pillar. I'm not typing extrude. So it's just one of those not so fantastic things. If I lose track, I type what I think instead of what I picture. Right, poly extrude. Fantastic. That's the wrong side. Now because Houdini is fantastic, I can then say pillar detail, and I can say I don't want these to be connected, and I actually want the inset rather than a I want to insert, and I want this to extrude inwards. Can I do this in one? Probably not. I cannot do it in one. All right, we're going to do another poly extrude. But instead of an insert, we're going to actually do the extrude. But, it's not, if I extrude it now, it's just going to take the front and the back as it did before. Right, so I'm going to specify, I want a group. Leave it out front. Fantastic. Now, why are you messing with the normals when you're doing that? Okay, fantastic. Brilliant, we've got a more detailed pillar. Let's take that, and then let me just think, what is that extrude doing? I did not think this through very well. Right, so the problem is as follows. I've got 2 pillars now, and I only need one. I've got one that's got my amazing, very, very detailed surface detail, and I've got another one that's got my top and my bottom info, my thingamajigs on top. So those guys. So that is in fact not ideal at all. But what I can do, okay, so I've got a workaround. So we're going to add this to the network because we can have more than one group in a network. And we are going to add the extrudes back in. And that should hopefully work. Brilliant. Houdini is brilliant. Maya could never. Right, fantastic. We've got our pillars. Let's just see what that's looking like. That is looking much better. We can even, can we do that though? I want to try something. I want to see if I can maybe add these into this extrude as well. So let's try that. So that's going to be pillar detail. But that'll mean I'll need to add this after the extrude, so that's going to go there. Right, but then the problem is my inner thingamajig is now showing. Yeah, let's not do that. Let's not do that at all. Right, let's see. I've just realized I've spent almost 2 hours on this, and I've done the sum total of flip my arches this correct direction and a control for a few things. More detail to the pillars and thingamajigs on top, ornaments on top. That is the sum total of what I've achieved in this time. But it is progress. It is progress. So I've just quickly saved. Quick note, save guys. Please, please, please save. Because I do not save. I forget. The fact that I've saved this twice or 3 times maybe in this 2 hours is a miracle. I usually save 0 times. In fact, I'm well known, at least, well, I say well known. I'm well known in, at least in my family, for not saving my files, and then after a day's work it crashes, and then I can't go and complain because it crashed, when in reality I should have been saving 10 billion times before then. I usually, in fact, do not save. I do have autosave implemented in Maya, but that's a recent addition. I did that 2 weeks ago. I've been using Maya for 3 years, and if you know anything about Maya, you know it crashes a lot. Yeah, I've lost a lot of work. Don't be like me. Save, please save. And now knowing Mario, if he was here, he would probably know that he's probably going to make a reel of me saying to save, because he definitely sits on me to remember to save, because he always saves. I in fact do not save. Right, so I'm pretty happy with that. I think the next thing to implement would probably be this little thing at top. So let's do that. I can probably create a boolean for it as well. Probably. I absolutely despise using booleans. It's so destructive. Not in Houdini, but if you actually have to work with the geometry afterwards, it's terrible. And I do not want to retopo this, but it is what it is. Right, so my rooftop is where? It's over here. It is over here. So that's going to be a circle. I could probably do this with a torus type shape, but let's do a circle. Why not? And then is there one that's just edges or not? No, there is not. Brilliant. I'll just turn edges to curves or something. So let's make that 32 for now. And then we're going to edges to curves, curve from edges, that one. And we're going to have edges. Brilliant. So that's going to be swept. And with that, brilliant. Change around tube or something. And then what's this looking like in terms of scale? Huge. Absolutely huge. Right. Let's shrink that down. I'm just going to shrink it to size for now, and then I'll make the other adjustments later. So that's going to be about that big. Maybe a little narrower. Let's do 0.1. Can always thicken it back up. No, 0.01. No, that's tiny. I keep forgetting the 0.15. I'll scale it. Right, so that's going to be that. Now, that probably the better area to combine it would be here. Actually, this is not too bad. Right. So I'm going to have the uniform scale. Now, what am I going to do? Let's just change that to a prettier number like 0.1. What I want to do is I want the placement of this circle to be determined by the height of this thing. So where is that? The height is being adjusted all the way over here, up here. Height that is on roof height, rooftop. So that's that one. Copy parameter, and then that's going to go into this one. Center. Divide by 0.25. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Now that part is not thick enough for it. So maybe 0.2. Then we need to scale that up, which is fine. Let's scale it up. But then that changes everything. That changes absolutely everything. But the upside is 0.5 now works. Let's work with it. Let's just get something functional here. Hello, where did you go? That's not functional. Said I wanted something functional. Let's see. So why is it not working? Fine at the merge. No, it's not fine at the merge. So that means it's a transform before it's a copy to points. It is the copy to points. Alright. So maybe if we merge before that, maybe. Let's do transform that way. What is this transform doing? Scale. That's fine. Go in there. Okay, quickly going to remove that there. And then we're going to copy that once. Brilliant. I think that works. Let's see the full picture. Yay, it's working. Fantastic. It's not looking proportionate yet. It's not perfect yet, but it is something. And I think that's a good place to end today's stream. So thank you guys for hanging out with me and being here, and for the advice, because I've been struggling today, but it was super fun. It was fun stream. Not many Houdini streams on Twitch. I have to go now. I have to get going too. I've got a meeting. So thank you guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.